meeting of the Flint Historic District Commission to order. It is May 6th, shortly after 5:30. First thing on the agenda is the roll call.
Commissioner Bernash.
Here.
Commissioner Hurley.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Nicewander.
Here.
Commissioner Scapani.
Here.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think this is Joanne Gurley, Assistant City Attorney. I think we need to do the OMA opening so that people know about this being a virtual meeting.
Yes, I was just going to introduce you, so you could do that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We have Joanne Gurley with us, who is now assigned to help us as an assistant city attorney. So hopefully she'll be joining all of our meetings in place of Kelly, since Kelly has moved on. And Joanne, I will give you the floor so you can do item agenda B.
All right, thank you. All boards and commissions must adhere to all laws established under Michigan compiled laws and in accordance with the revisions of the Open Meetings Act adopted in Senate Bill 1108 as passed on October 13th, 2020 and signed into law on October 16th, 2020. A public announcement shall be made by each member who is attending the meeting remotely that he or she is attending the meeting remotely and, except for those in the military, stating his or her physical location.
Commissioner Bernash.
Present, appearing remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Hurley.
Hi, Mike Hurley here, appearing remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Davis.
Beverly Davis, attending remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Nicewander.
Kurt Nicewander, attending remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Commissioner Scapani.
Joe Scapani, attending remotely from Flint, Michigan.
Okay. And moving on to item C on the agenda, additions or changes to the agenda. Is there any corrections or changes to the agenda?
I just wanted to ask since I was asked to come back for the project last month, I don't think it's formally on the agenda, but can we take a look at the revised drawing for the porch as like old business or something?
Sure. 103 Sanford Place.
Yeah, and 104. Yeah.
103, 104 Sanford. Okay, we can add that on to old business. And then I have a couple things that we need to add to old business. The update on the Brics. I sent out an email to most of you, but Kurt, I didn't have your new email address. So you weren't included, I'm sorry. But anyways, I've got some more information since the email that I sent out, so we can add that to old business. And then also there's an issue with Communities First, Georgia Manor that we approved in 2019. There was the anonymous letter that was sent, and I've been talking to some of the residents of Carriage Town as well. So I pulled out my old notes and we can talk about that. I figured we can put that in old business as well. And then under B on the agenda, there's just a typo. It should be a T instead of ACE. It should be ACT. Are there any other corrections or additions, changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt.
Support?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is adopted with those modifications. Next on the agenda is minutes of previous meeting and disposal. So we have minutes from April 7th, 2021. If y'all would like to take a second and just review these, see if there's any corrections or changes.
Hi, Stephanie. We can't hear you.
Oh, where did she go?
She's
There
on
she
mute.
is. Just wanted to let you know we are on item agenda E. We're just reviewing April 7th minutes right now.
Commissioner Bernash.
Yes.
Hi, this is Joanne again. Because it is a remote meeting and there may be people who are just on the phone calling in as opposed to viewing who's actually speaking. So if each commissioner could state their name before they speak each time, please.
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does our name show though, as part of the Zoom when someone hits the participants? I think it shows our name too. So if anybody is participating in the meeting, I think they can see our name. It doesn't say commissioner, but they can at least see our first and last name from our Zoom account. They should be able to. Like I can see it. I don't know if anybody else can.
Yeah, it appears, but
It
if
does.
anybody-
Okay.
right.
Okay.
But
But
if somebody-
okay, we can still, if it
Yeah.
makes it easier, that's okay. It's not a problem with me. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, this is KZ, and we just lost someone. I think it's Commissioner Hurley. So just for side note, on YouTube, when we go live, the phone, if you don't have your webcam on, you can't see the speaker, so that's why it also helps to say
Okay.
the name before. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
I think it's going to be more a matter of remembering to do it, to say your name each time you speak. Okay.
Is just a moment away.
Okay, this is Commissioner
Thank you
Bernash.
We'll be with you in-
Hearing no changes or corrections to the April 7th meeting minutes, do we have a motion?
This is Commissioner's companion. I move to approve the minutes.
And is there support?
Support.
We have a motion with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mhm.
Hearing none, motion passes to adopt the April 7th meeting minutes.
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
this is Bill Vandercook. Just so that you're aware, I don't think you heard me. Commissioner Hurley dropped out of the meeting. I don't know if he lost his connection, but he just dropped out before the vote. So
Oh,
Did.
yeah, he did because he spoke to me. He was on and then he fell off. So I think it could be his signal
Okay.
or his phone.
And we can be missing one person, correct, and still have quorum.
Correct.
So that passed without him, and that's okay. Okay, so we can do the next item agenda while we wait for him. Hearing from the public. This is where if anyone from the public is participating in the meeting and would like to speak about something that is not on the agenda, this would be the time to speak about it. If you are here and you want to speak about something that's on the agenda, then just wait for that time in the agenda and then you'll be able to speak. So is there anyone that would like to speak about an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, hearing nothing. We are moving on to item G, certificates of appropriateness and notices to proceed. And still don't see Commissioner Hurley, but The first item on the agenda is Whaley Children's Center, 307 University Avenue. Is there someone here to present on this application?
I thought there was someone online for the Whaley.
Commissioner Bernash, Bill Vandercook, I believe Nick Cadovari and Michael Freeman are here on behalf of Whaley. Can they hear the commissioners?
No,
Can't hear.
we're not here on behalf of Whaley.
They're not. They're here for the land bank.
Oh,
They're here. I think
Okay.
they're also here, Commissioner Bernash, I think they're also here to talk about the Whaley application 307 University.
Yeah, we're just here to speak about that.
Yeah. And I'm actually here as a Kirishon resident and not in my capacity as the land bank director.
Okay. So is there anyone here that would like to present for Whaley Children's Center the certificate of appropriateness for the address located at 307 University Avenue? Okay. Looks like no one is here. So we can either discuss the application and vote, or we can adjourn it to next month.
Can I just say I don't think they're appropriate? If we look at what the design is, they cover the whole window.
I'm sorry, could whoever's speaking
I'm
state?
sorry, Commissioner Scapani. This is Commissioner Scapani. If you look at, they're basically covering the metal, the windows with a big piece of metal, the doors, and pretty much isolating the house and taking away a lot of the historic character of the house.
It does. I did have a private conversation with Mindy Williams, who's the executive director at Whaley. She did indicate to me that their Whaley's insurance company is requiring them to secure and board the structure while it is vacant. So she informed me it's a requirement of her insurance company, and it is intended to be temporary only while the building is still vacant. And as soon as they move in, it will all be taken off. So it sounded like it was the equivalent of boarding a structure. And I know we don't have people come before us when they tarp their roof or screw in, particle board or plywood on the doors and windows to board a structure. We don't approve or deny that. So I guess, I would have questions for her as far as what does temporary mean? How long?
Right.
Is it going to be vacant for a month, or is it going to be vacant for 2 years? Because I agree, it's not acceptable. It's not historically appropriate to be permanent or long-term, but if it's just a matter of these are just metal panels in lieu of wooden panels to be used temporarily for a month or two until they can move in, that's a different story. But if they're not here to answer those questions, I don't know how we can move forward on it.
I would still say, and this is Commissioner Scapani, I would still say no. There's a lot of neighbors in that area that have worked hard on their house and have had to abide by historic code. Temporary, I've heard a lot of temporary, and sometimes, like you said, sometimes temporary 2 months, sometimes it's 5 years. And that's something that I think should have been researched, because they just purchased a house. That when they purchased the house in a historic district, they should have done some research on that. So,
But I wonder if it's just the guards, just so that they won't have vandalism on the house. So I think it's like those steel, they cover the entire window and they're steel so that, you know, you can't break in or pull them off. They're secured. But I know there's like a monthly rental fee. I mean, the ones I looked at, they were almost like $4 something a month to rent over some of the windows. I don't know how many windows they have to cover, but anything on the first floor. I mean, would they need our approval for that? Because it's temporary, it's just securing the home to ensure no vandalism.
Right.
I think you're right, Stephanie, but I think without them here to answer questions, I'm not sure there's really anything we can do. There's too many unanswered questions.
Correct.
So I would say we need to postpone this one.
Okay.
So I'd make a motion that we postpone and contact the applicant.
Okay. Is there support for that?
Commissioner Davis, support.
Okay, we have a motion with support. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani,
No.
Okay, motion carries. So the application is now moved to next month's agenda.
Now, if we don't have somebody next month, do we have to formally reject it?
We need to vote on it one way or the other.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Bernash, because I believe after, I don't remember what it was, Kelly told me how many
I know so many months. If we don't do anything, then it
days.
gets
I
approved.
thought it was like 60 days or something. If we didn't act, then it just automatically is approved.
Right. Okay. And that's why I was asking the question.
So we can adjourn it once, and then if they don't show up next month, we'll vote on it one way or the other without having our questions answered, I guess.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Bernash, will we send them notice that we are adjourning it for a month for them to come forward?
I think they should be notified. Bill, is that something you would do, is reach out to people when they don't appear?
Commissioner Bernash, I think that was part of Commissioner Hurley's motion to reach out to them. So we'll make sure that we do that tomorrow.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on, next application is for Creekwood Architecture at Voices for Children, 515 East Street in Flint. Is there anyone here to present on that project?
Well, Bruce Calhoun and I are here. Bruce is muted, which is the much stated thing of 2020 and 2021. I'm Clonice Holloman, and I'm the director at Voices for Children, and I'll let Bruce introduce himself from Creekwood.
Bruce Calhoun, Creekwood Architecture.
Okay. Normally, this is Commissioner Bernash, normally we would be in person around a table all together, and whoever presented on a project would stand up and give us a presentation, pass around building materials, show any posters, drawings, whatever they had, and just kind of give a little presentation on what the plan is, and then we just kind of start asking questions. So if you guys want to just kind of talk about the project.
Okay, I'll start that. We did an addition to the rear of the existing structure to expand the current use of the Children's Advocacy Center. The addition was 2,892 square feet. The building was 2,266 square feet. There's a 10-foot wide connection at the rear of the building that joins the two buildings together. The existing structure is a 2-story building, and the new structure is a 1.5-story building. We are also here for the sign to be placed on the side of the building in the gable on the parking lot side. We expanded the parking lot, and we also relocated the garage that was in the location of the new addition. The building was painted to match the new vinyl shakes that were placed on the addition. We were not able to obtain a vinyl shake that could match the color of the existing building, and everything was limited really because of COVID. The shingles were replaced on the existing building. They were overdue, and they were also to match the new structure. Just so that you're also aware that we were not aware of the requirements of this, that we had to come before you. We started this project back in April, or actually November of 19, when we relocated the garage. Then we went in for Zoning Board of Appeals on February 6, 20. The site plan review on 4/22/20, and we started construction in April 20. And we just finished just recently, this month.
So, and I will share that the Child Advocacy Center has been working. The need for the center has increased, which is why we needed to expand. So in 2015, we went from seeing under 300 clients to, as of 2019, seeing about 2,000 clients. And that's really because the laws had changed relative to how CPS sends the cases that they decide not to investigate go automatically to law enforcement. So all of those abused and neglected kids then had to have what's called a forensic interview, which is a kid-friendly way of talking to them about trauma. So we are now interviewing not only sexual abuse cases, but we deal with all of the physical abuse cases in the community, all of the human trafficking cases, and any of the neglect. And then we also, legislation has changed so that we also do any witness to violence, where a kid could be a critical witness. So that could be where a kid has seen a murder. And so in order to ensure that that child is in a kid-friendly place to talk about what they have already seen, given that they are traumatized, we bring them to the Child Advocacy Center. And so it does still maintain and look like a house. The kids feel comfortable with it being at a house. In fact, that's typically their first question is, do you guys live here? And so we wanted to make sure that we stayed in this location. They know it as the Big Blue House. They named it the Big Blue House. And the addition in the back looks just like the addition in the front. It looks like the current building in the front. Now, if you drive by it right now, we're in the process of painting, as Mr. Calhoun shared, but all of the other pieces are going to go back up, and we're making sure that everything stays the same, other than we had to paint and replace rotted wood in the front of the building. And a tree fell on the roof, so we replaced the entire roof, but we replaced it with the same color roofing that was on there before. And if you want to see a drawing, I can show you the rendering. The rendering is just not the same blue color that it is right now. So if you're interested in seeing that, I can share the rendering with you as well.
I'd like to also add that we had a letter from Barney Bishop. She's the granddaughter of the bishop that built the house, and she is in a full approval of the changes and also the color change. And she said back originally it was more of a beige color.
So I will share it just so you can see where the signage is going to go as well. The signage would be over here. And the blue is a little bit darker, like Mr. Calhoun shared. The blue that was available because of COVID, we couldn't get this color blue. But a lot of the kids haven't realized that it's a completely different color blue anyways. But this is where the sign would go, and everything else is still exactly the same. on there. And right now we don't have the shutters up and things like that, but they're going back up as soon as we can get them power washed and painted.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Bill Vandercook. If you don't mind me providing the commissioners with a little bit of history, as to why we're at this point.
Certainly.
The property, as we know, is in a historic district. It was not flagged as a historic district, and therefore building permits were issued. Prior staff, and including myself, missed that it was an historic district. So that was an oversight. The applicant, and Voices for Children is not negligent in this in any way. I just feel like this was an oversight, of it being an historic district, and the building permits got issued.
I do have one question. You indicated that the wooden cedar shake on the house, was that all replaced or just some rotted?
Just the rotted wood was replaced, and it's mostly around the actual windows. They were all rotted. So what happened was we replaced the wood, and then we put aluminum around the windows to prevent, and this is me not really knowing a whole lot of construction. This is me reciting what somebody else told me. Then they put aluminum over the wood to ensure that it doesn't rot as quickly as the wood had rotted before. But other than that, everything is the same. And then the shakers on the new edition they match what the front edition looks like.
Okay, so the wood shake on the original structure, the original house, are still wood.
They're completely all wood. Nothing has changed from that. Yep.
Okay. And then the sign hasn't gone up yet?
No, the sign has not gone up yet.
Okay, and it'll be illuminated? Will it be lit up? Is it?
No.
No.
No? I thought I saw where it said LED or something.
Thought I saw that too. That's Commissioner Scapani.
Well, if they're putting an LED sign up there, that is news to me because we are paying for a wood sign to match the wood sign that's in the front. Nobody would ever see an LED sign. It would just look at the Riverside Tabernacle Church and trees.
Commissioner, I can confirm that. We permit the signs, and the sign is not going to be illuminated sign. So.
Okay, that was what I was concerned about. How bright is it going to be? And it didn't make sense to have a brightly lit sign, around the side of the building, not even facing the street or anything. But yeah, it does say LED light with low voltage wire, 12-volt wire.
Oh, that's a detail I think the sign company included. I'm not sure why, but on zoning application, he's got non-lit flat aluminum wall sign.
Okay.
Just a reminder to the speakers to please state their names before they speak.
There any other question or discussion? This is Commissioner Bernash.
No, I think.
No, other than I'm really not sure what we do with this. I mean, it's, I can't feel comfortable saying a motion to proceed because it's done or mostly done. I can't make a motion to do a certificate of appropriateness because I'm not sure I don't think we know enough. So I'm just not sure how you even resolve this,
This is Claudice. Is there more that we can provide to you as it relates to the sign? I guess what else would you need to know?
Oh, well, so normally the sign is probably fine. I mean, Heather's question was valid, but I'm sure that's not a lit sign. But the normal process, this is a big project, and the normal process would have been you folks would have come to us, and I know you didn't know, right? But you would have been showing us samples, and we would have been discussing vinyl shake versus wood shake, and wood windows versus vinyl windows, and aluminum trim versus wood trim, and all these sorts of things. We would have gotten into all this detail, but it's done, and so like vinyl windows would probably be a real hurdle, just to be frank.
Right.
So
I mean, this is Commissioner Bernash. I mean, we are in a bit of a catch-22. It's like you said, it's done, we're not, I don't think we can make them tear it down, and it looks nice, but the detailed discussions, right? I'm not super excited about vinyl shake. I don't know that I would have approved that, but it's done. And so I mean, they do need either a certificate of appropriateness or a notice to proceed, one way or the other. I mean, perhaps my suggestion would be maybe it should be a notice to proceed like we do with demos rather than a certificate of appropriateness, just sort of as a reflection that we didn't participate in this process beforehand, like what the process should have been. So it's not really, it doesn't have like the gold star seal of approval, like had it gone through the vetting process, but they have, at least they have their paperwork in order, so it's not illegal.
Yeah, Heather, I think you're on the right track. And I think if we can include some wording along those lines of, hey, permits were issued without, HTC approval or knowledge, but, I'm thinking more for somebody ever looking back at this saying, well, they got vinyl siding,
Right.
or they got vinyl
Why was that
windows.
Approved? And when it wasn't approved.
Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if we could include some wording like that on the motion to proceed, or no, it's not motion to proceed, it's a notice to proceed. Maybe that is the best option, yeah.
So, okay, so someone should make a motion for to issue a notice to proceed with an acknowledgement that this project was not vetted beforehand.
This is Clanice. I just wanted to be noted that it wasn't because of Voices for Children, though.
Yes.
I want that very clear in whatever happened.
No. Oh, I understand. That's, yeah, no, and is the project done, basically? I mean, other than some painting or cleanup?
92%. Probably more like 95%.
Yeah. This Commissioner Bernash, I saw them painting this week, and it looks nice. It looks beautiful. It's the scale, the size, the location, all those things I think we would have likely approved without speaking out of turn. I mean, it looks like maybe it could have been there, and it doesn't compete with the main building. It's shorter, smaller in scale. It's behind it. The windows, the siding, they look very similar to the original building. It looks beautiful, but yeah, we just would have given it a lot of scrutiny. It probably would have been an hour-long discussion of each little detail on the building, and there might have been some negotiation, with respect to like materials and things like that.
Bruce Calhoun, Creekwood Architecture. Just so you know, if we had known, again, like Nisi had said, that the building was an historical society or district, we definitely would have come to you. But even not knowing, we tried to match the building so that it was complementing the building and it didn't look so much like an addition. Vinyl shakes, of course, was a maintenance issue as well as an availability issue. The windows, we did go with grills on the exterior and interior to try to match the existing. And we were trying to get as close as we could with the exception of going to wood because we just didn't know that we had to. And we were looking at vinyl for a maintenance free type of building. And if we would have had money available, we probably would have done the whole house, but not knowing that it was in the historic district. I'm glad we didn't, so that we could make.
Too.
This is Commissioner Nicewinder. I mean, being in a historic district doesn't necessarily mean that the goal is to match or copycat the existing building, especially with using vinyl and other materials that would not have existed at the time. I mean, I do, based on the one rendering that we do have, I mean, it is appreciated that the building is a little lower. I think that side porch would have been an issue because it sticks out. I mean, there is some positive that it's farther back in the building, but I mean, again, we're all kind of speaking about this in past tense. The one thing I would make sure that is clear is if you now ever have to do anything to this building, the entire building, exterior, in the future, you must come to the Historic District Commission before any alteration or occurs on the building. And this is not trying to be a punishment or a slap on the wrist, but what we're trying to do is protect the character of historic districts, and my dog agrees, so that we don't have any further degradation of the historic properties in the city. So anyway, just want to make sure that was out there.
Commissioner Bernash, Bill Vandercook, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Just because Genesee Holman made a statement that they didn't have, they weren't aware of this at all, and so was Bruce Calhoun. I've had conversations with Nisi that told me prior to this going up, she had conversations with Bruce Calhoun about it being a historic district. And so just for the record, I just want that to be noted. We did have a conversation, and she did tell me that Bruce had mentioned to her this could be in a historic district. So maybe Genesee could see if she remembers the conversation.
That is totally false.
The conversation was, if it was in a historic district, did we need to get approval? But we did not know if it was in a historic district, and it was no way for us to find out. This is funny, sorry, that it wasn't a historic district. All of the paperwork that I have on the house, as well as the deed, because after this came to us, I looked at the deed, I looked at everything. It does not list that it's in a historical district. So I'm not really sure how one is supposed to find out, most especially when you have succession of different directors and things like that, about the designation of a historical building or an area without some kind of prior knowledge and documentation. And so I hear what Commissioner, I'm not really sure, I don't want to butcher your last name, but there was conversation about, is it historical, is it not historical? And so that was the conversation that we had relative to this. But again, I had no idea if it was or was not. And we have gone before every other commission and would have graciously come before you all to ask the same questions. The only reason that I felt like it could have been is because of the fireplace that we had. And that's on the inside. And I was told that because I have the fireplace on the inside, it didn't fall within this commission's purview. So that's where I leave it.
Correct. Okay, so you, Commissioner Bernash, so you conducted an inquiry trying to find out, and were unable to find out whether it was in a district or not.
Correct. And I mean, I guess I also want to say that there has to be some kind of checks and balances for it when people acquire property, sell property. There's a transition of leadership at entities where somehow the person finds out that they're in a historic district and need to come before this commission. based on what I read in our deed and all of the documents. And I even, after I found out about this, went to the attic, which I don't go to the attic ever, but I went to the attic and I pulled even more information about the house. And that's how I found out more about Barney Bishop as well, and the Bishop family living here. It never says that in any of it. I even have a 1999 article sitting on my desk right here where they're talking about the house, and it never indicates that it's in a historic district.
Yeah, so my understanding, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that if somebody applied for a permit to do some building, that they were flagged as being in a historic district to prevent exactly this sort of situation.
Commissioner Bernash, to answer Commissioner Hurley's question, that's correct. The building department, they are red flagged, and that was an oversight, and a permit was issued from the city of Flint.
Nope. And has it been corrected for this particular historic district? Because if this one wasn't flagged, probably any other property in that district isn't flagged either.
Commissioner Bernash, to Commissioner Hurley again, the commission has discussed, looking at the maps, updating maps, being ensured that we have historic districts correctly identified. So I think that's something that we need to really look into in the future.
That is Commissioner Bernash, and that is an ongoing struggle that I think the databases at the city just aren't accurate and up to date to rely on the information. That there needs to be an overhaul where we go through, because some of the districts don't exist anymore. Some of them have shrunk, and some of them do exist but aren't labeled, properly. So that is something that needs to happen at the city, so that we can rely on it.
So this is Commissioner Hurley. I'd like to make a motion that we issue a notice to proceed and include some of the background that we've just talked about as far as permits were issued.
I think we lost this Commissioner Scapani. I think we lost Commissioner Hurley. There he is.
Here we go.
Did that?
So, but I think in the motion they wanted said or illustrated that there was no. It was not their intent not to get approval prior to job completion. It sounded like they wanted that stated in the motion. So is that required?
I mean, I think we can draft whatever we want to draft. This is Commissioner Bernash. So it sounds like Commissioner Hurley was making a motion to issue a notice to proceed and acknowledging that there was some sort of clerical error mix-up at the city issuing permits without going through the proper scrutiny and the proper procedure coming before us. So just acknowledging that fact that exists, that happened.
That's right. I just think it should be documented.
And Commissioner Scapani, I support.
Okay, so we have a motion with support. Is there, can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. So Claudnice, you'll have your notice to proceed. This is Commissioner Bernash. Normally I go into City Hall, and once they're typed up in a day or two, I'll sign them and mail it out to you, so you'll have it, and everything will be legal, and nobody can tell you, that your structure is illegal. But this is just more, matter of paperwork, getting our our ducks in a row so that, everything is legal. It does look beautiful. And thank you for coming before us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And any projects in the future, we're here to talk to you.
Thank you, Juanice, and I just want to say thank you so very much. And please note that Bill has been great to work with, and I think COVID-19 really had a lot to do with it. But in big red Sharpie letters on the deed envelope and everywhere else, I put historic district. So everybody knows, and trust me, it's ingrained in my brain. Since we found this out, I've kind of lost a little bit of sleep until I got to come before you guys. So thank you so much for understanding.
No problem. And then Commissioner Bernash, for future, it's anything that happens on the exterior of the structure or in the lawn in the public viewing area. So if you can see it from the sidewalk or the street, we can talk about it. So whatever you do to the inside is your business. We don't usually get into paint colors either, but just whether you're going to demo something, add something, signage, lighting, structures, sheds, garages, whatever, driveways, fences, anything that's on the outside, windows, that's what we talk about.
Bruce Calhoun, Creekwood Architecture. Just so you know, we've also been contracted for the church addition next door. And that was the first thing we checked on, was that it was in the historic district. So we'll be working straight from the get-go.
Okay, great. Look forward to it. Okay, well, you guys are free to go. If you want to stay, you can certainly stay and listen to the rest of our meeting, but you're free to go if you want to.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next item on our agenda is the Genesee County Land Bank. This is property located at 309 West 5th Avenue in Flint. Is there anyone here to speak on this project?
Yes, my name is Moses Timlin of the Genesee County Land Bank. It's good to see everyone again. I'm submitting an application for demolition for a parcel that we're receiving through tax foreclosure process. It is actually a burnt historical structure all the way to the foundation. It's currently exposed and open and collecting trash. And this was a property that neighborhood residents had previously asked us to address, but we did not have ownership of it. So we are including it in our package of demolitions that we applied for back in December.
Commissioner Bernash, and so this is what it currently looks like. How recent are these pictures?
I took those photos with, I sent them to Bill about a month or so ago.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Commissioner Scapani. That structure, I think, burned last fall, was it?
December 2019.
2019, okay, yeah, and it burned to the ground then. And
Yes, sir.
It's right across the street from my house. Or, just a little bit down. And there's really nothing left. So I would make a motion to approve the demo.
Is there support?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none. I don't think we need a roll call vote for this one. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Hearing none. Motion carries. Notice to proceed is granted. And you're all set. So I'll be signing that probably this week or next week, and you guys can either pick it up or get it in the mail from Bill.
Great. Bill, I'll come pick it up. Wonderful. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Okay, next item on our agenda is old business. We have the item that we added, 103 and 104 Sanford.
All right. My turn. This Commissioner Nicewinder, architect Kurt Nicewinder, acting as architect for this project that I presented last month. So you asked me to come back with some additional details for the porch staircase and railing. So I submitted those, some drawings for review. So trying to keep things simple and kind of in line with the character of the four-square house and some of the other porches in the historic district in Carriagetown. So the new design meets current building code requirements as far as the height of the handrail, the spacing of the posts in between, or the balusters in the railing itself, as well as the staircase railing and the balusters along, on the stair treads themselves. So it's the design is to be, simple, paint grade wood. So a wood railing, wood staircase railing, and painted to kind of complement the overall color scheme of the house, or both houses. So both 103 and 104 Sanford are identical structures, and so we're proposing all the rehab work to be very identical in the detail, since most of the existing condition is recognizable of both houses. So they do show signs that they were all identical. Actually, and even a couple, 105, I think, is still there, has had some modifications, but that's not in this scope. But they were all kind of built as, copycats of each other, so to speak. So if you have any questions about the details, let me know. Did you want me to share a screen, or do you have, we all have our packet of info too, and you should have the drawings.
Yeah, we have the packet.
This is Mike Hurley. So Kurt, is this just sort of an amendment to the application from last time, or is this a new application? This is just this is just clarification and addition to the
some further detail, because this one item I think was not approved because I didn't at the time I didn't have any drawings ready because it was kind of pushing, trying to get them through the process as fast as possible. So.
No, I understand. I just wanted to know how to word the motion. So yeah, I guess I would make a motion that we approve this additional information for the previous application.
I would second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion with support. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And motion carries.
Abstain for the record. Recuse myself.
And you abstained. That's correct.
And I just got the window package from Carter Lumber. So all wood doors. It's coming together. So
nice.
They will look nice.
Okay. Next item on old business is Michigan Historic Preservation Network training. I haven't heard any update from them as far as another topic or another date yet. So we're still just waiting. It should be happening this year at some point, but we just don't have anything hammered down yet.
I think, Joanne, were you trying to say something? I heard like a background, but I don't know if you were trying to make a point. I thought I heard her speaking. We must have lost her. I could hear her trying to ask a question, but I couldn't decipher what she was trying to ask.
Okay. Okay. Well, it sounds like I don't hear anyone adding anything to the conversation about the training. So I think we can move on from that topic, and we'll be discussing it again in the future once we have information about the topic and some proposed dates when we can do another training. Next item under old business is the Communities First Georgia Manor issue. A complaint was submitted, and I've spoken with a couple neighbors who had some concerns about Communities First. So I dug back through our old meeting minutes. And it looks like it was on the agenda March 27th of 2019. 411 Lion Street. And so that's when it was discussed and approved. Our applications are good for a year when they expire. So technically the application expired March of 20. They are currently working on the project now. I don't know when they started working on it. Because I would assume as long as you've started the work, obviously, I mean, a project can take more than a year. So, and you don't have to come back and renew it if you've started and you're working on it. I don't know when they started. If they started after March of 20, it would have been expired and technically they should have come back. If they just started recently, because that's a year ago that it would have expired. There was also an issue.
Heather, is somebody bringing this forward as a concern that maybe they started 6 months after the application, expired?
A resident of Carriagetown two residents of Carriagetown contacted me wanting to know how old the certificate of appropriateness was and was it expired, and we need to find out when they started the project. I think as long as they started the work before March of 20, I think it's okay.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Bill Vandercook. Do you have the address for that? We can look up at the records.
Sure,
right now.
It's 411 Lion Street, Georgia Manor.
Okay.
So that's issue number one, is did they not start the project until well after their certificate had expired? So should they have come back to us? Issue number two, I haven't been over there to see.
Commissioner Bernash, is it okay for a community member to speak at this moment?
Sure.
Sure. So this is Cade Surface from the Carriagetown neighborhood. I live adjacent to the Georgia Manor property. I'm actually staring at it right now through my kitchen door.
Okay.
And my understanding is that they definitely, there were definitely trucks and stuff on site by that point. I don't remember the first time that there was visible changes, I guess I would say, to the site, but there was definitely I think likely internal work happening before March of 2020. Well, definitely I will say before COVID started. I guess that's my marker for all time at this point.
Okay. Okay. So you might not have been able to see the work, but activity was happening. They were working on it.
To the best of my recollection, I remember talking to friends about it before COVID started and being excited about the building behind me being worked on. So if that's helpful for your discussion, there's that.
Okay. That does help. And then their application specifically says there will be no new construction, no additions, or no structural changes. A resident of Carriagetown said they believe there might be some structural changes, additions. They're concerned about things like fencing and lighting that this application did not discuss or include. I don't know if I haven't seen any pictures to know if there's been new, any additions added on or, and then another issue was this, I think it's the second floor, the little balconies. In the application, it discusses what the balcony what the railing will be made out of, that it'll be black, metal, but it doesn't discuss the flooring of the balconies at all. And I look in our meeting minutes from the next month, and there's no discussion of what the flooring for those balconies would be made of. And apparently some of the neighbors believe it's like a modern material, not wood or metal, that it's some sort of composite, plasticky resin, I don't know what. This is a non-contributing structure, so it's not historic itself. So there are relaxed, guidelines as far as, what you can do with a non-contributing structure. It doesn't have the same level of scrutiny as a historic structure would. So we may very well have approved some sort of composite flooring, but it's not in the meeting minutes, and they didn't discuss it at all in their application. But we did approve balconies. So obviously balconies have to have floors. But there's no discussion on the record of what was approved. So I'm not sure how to fix this. I just wanted to sort of do my research and present to you everything I found out and let you guys kind of know that the neighbors seem to not be very happy, but I don't know how to fix it at this point.
I thought when we had the meeting with them that they came back a second time to show us the type of railing that they would be used, because at first that wasn't identified the first time they came forward. But I don't remember us ever asking them about the material of the balcony. I don't even think that question arose. We were concerned about the railing that they were going to use and that it would fit within the scheme of the neighborhood.
Right.
And I honestly don't think we ever asked that question.
Discussed. Right.
It wasn't. And we gave them the approval. The last thing they said they would come back on if they were going to put up a fence, they would bring that back. And that's how we left the meeting and their application.
And they haven't come back to ask about a fence, so there shouldn't be any fence that's been installed or any lighting or signage or anything, because they didn't ask for any of that.
Yeah.
I think we were concerned about the railing because you can see it. I mean, you can see the railing, it's visible, but as far as what's on the floor of a balcony, second story up,
No, it's not visible, and like you already said, that it's not a contributing structure, in the neighborhood. It's not a historic structure. So, the level of scrutiny is or the bar is much lower. I mean, all it has to do is continue to appear as it did and not conflict with what's happening in the neighborhood.
Hi, Heather, can I speak?
Certainly.
Nick Cadbury, I'm the president of the Carrollton Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
So with the composite decking that they've used, the two or three concerns I've had brought to my attention was that other residents want to use similar materials because of the lower levels of maintenance. The composite decking from the street, from the sidewalk, it looks great. But when you get close to it, you can tell it's not real wood. So that was an issue that neighbors were having, was that they wouldn't be able to use it, but Communities First is not being scrutinized for the type of material that is being used for the decking now.
Okay. So I understand that, they get to do it. Why don't we get to do it? And again, I mean, the response that I think the commission would have without speaking out of turn is just that historic buildings are held to a higher standard and they should use the materials that were originally there, which were wood. Plastic didn't exist 100 years ago. Whereas a newer building that's not a contributing structure, there's just not the same level of scrutiny, and they can use more modern materials because that building isn't in any way contributing to the history of the neighborhood. And we don't want to create like a phony sense of history and try to make it look like it's 100 years old when it's not.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Bill Vandercook, if you don't mind. The case was heard on March 27th, 2019. The motion was made to approve at that time, like you said. The first building permit through the building department was issued August 19th, 2020.
August of 2020.
August 19th, 2020.
So that's over a year.
Yeah, the motion that was made regarding the work was clarification of work to be done to add to the application rehabilitation or replace existing roof with weatherwood asphalt shingles, to replace porch balconies with metal railing, to replace all windows holes with aluminum windows, to replace main entry doors and slide and patio doors, and to repair masonry and truck repairs.
Okay. So maybe they do need to come back and just renew it. If they didn't start the work until August and it expired in March of last year.
That's what that's correct. That's what it indicates. The records indicate.
Okay. Well, maybe we should send them a letter telling them they need to resubmit and to renew the application since it expired, or they started doing the work. And if there is, I mean, I would love to know if there's, because the conversation I had with a resident was that something about the facilities, like I don't know if it's the heating and cooling units or if there's some sort of mechanical equipment outside, if any sort of building structure has been built around that or added onto it, that there might, the building itself, the footprint of the building may look different. There may have been some new work done that we didn't necessarily discuss or approve, some additions. So, but I don't have any independent knowledge of this. It was just a discussion that someone else suggested to me. So maybe we should send them a letter asking them to come back in just for a renewal of their certificate, and then we can talk about all these things.
That sounds good, Heather.
Okay.
Can we have this Commissioner Nicewinder, I mean, since they did submit for a building permit, can we, as you know, can the staff pull the drawings permit, you know, the approved drawings, and see if there's things like fencing and lighting and other things that may need to be addressed? I mean, some things may be too late, but I don't know, is that a concern at all?
No.
Is he talking to me?
No. So, Commissioner Bernash, this is Commissioner Scapani. I'm talking to one of the people that had the problem. And so they did remove some of the brick on the side of the building for the heating and cooling structure. And that was one of the big issues.
Made several openings in the front.
Several openings in the front of the back of the building.
They're operating without.
Yeah, I would say this is, sorry, Joe, this is Kate Service from the neighborhood as well. There definitely are new openings on the side. You can see some small, looks like windows that they punched through. I'm not sure. It looks like maybe like bathroom windows. I can't quite tell. I haven't seen anything like an addition or a change of footprint like you referenced. And I don't know that I've seen any new permanent fencing, but there definitely are new openings in the walls. And I guess I want to echo what Nick has already said, that it is important to us as the people that live in the neighborhood that are, trying to keep up with our own appropriateness, that I guess we all have a clear understanding of what the restrictions are for our homes versus contributing structures. And I wasn't able to find clear guidelines for Flint's policies around those. I was able to find them for other cities. So I don't know if that's a resource that's available to us, but I would love to see those.
I agree. I'd like to see those guidelines for contributing and non-contributing structures.
Sure. Okay, so it sounds like we need to bring them back in, and I would suggest that we just send them a letter, reach out to them and say, you need to come back in to renew your application and to talk about some things that are happening that weren't necessarily approved, because it says no structural changes, no new construction, no additions. And so if they're punching holes in the side of the wall, none of us approved that or discussed that or contemplated that whatsoever. So I think that needs to be discussed. I think the whole certificate needs to be renewed. We can certainly discuss the flooring on the balconies, because it looks like we didn't discuss it at all, what the material was going to be originally, and then ask them about the other things that they indicated they would need to come back to us for, like fencing or signage or lighting at a later date. Maybe they're ready, now. And then we can certainly I'll see if I can find any guidelines on the difference between contributing and non-contributing and how we treat the two. So I'm not sure if we need to have a motion to send them a letter, or just say we're going to do it.
I just think we could send it, say we're going to do it, right? Because their year is up. So if we do nothing, they get automatic approval to do whatever they want to do, right? Based on how the approval is structured, because we left it open-ended. So if we never have them come back and clarify, then I think that grants them an approval to move forward as they wish. So maybe we send them notification that they need to come back based on the approval given in 2019, I can't remember the exact date, to update us on the exterior, and we can ask the questions regarding the porch and why the balconies and why they made that selection.
Okay. That sounds good. So if procedurally, if nobody has a problem with it, I'm specifically nodding to our city attorney. If nobody has any problem with me not making a motion, requesting that a motion be made, if we could just have Bill send them a letter requesting that they come back in to renew their certificate and discuss.
This is Commissioner Scabani. What happens if they don't?
Good question. They seem very open to come back, though, as part of the meeting. I mean, the gentleman, and I cannot remember his name, it was two gentlemen who presented. They had came before us, 3 times? And they said whenever they needed us, because I see the one guy in Home Depot all the time, but I can never remember his name. I speak to him, and I'm very good at names, but they never gave to me that impression that they would not come if they were requested.
And I don't think it's going to be so much of a suggestion as you need to come before us, your certificate has expired.
Correct.
So let them, it could be worded in such a way that it's not an option.
Right, but if they have their permit, it's going to stop.
They don't have permission to go ahead with anything they haven't added.
So that's my kind of question right there.
If they don't, I guess if they don't reach out, then, we would ask maybe building permits to do a stop work order or something.
Okay. Commissioner Davis speaking. I believe if we reach out to them, they will come back. They don't appear to be that kind. That they
I think so too. I think they will. I just wanted to double check what being, I guess 2 years into it, just wanted to make sure how I knew if I was asked how it would move forward so I can respond.
Okay.
That's to other people.
I think the city attorney suggests that we should perhaps make a motion. So would someone like to make a motion on what we should do?
I would like to make a motion on having them come back and review, have them renew their certificate of appropriateness and review any of the new changes on there that they're doing.
Okay, to discuss anything outside of what was already approved.
Yes.
Is there support for that?
I support it. This is Stephanie.
Okay,
I'm looking
and
up-
if we could have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander, Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani,
Yes.
Okay. Unanimous, motion carries. So if we could, if Bill could get a letter out to them indicating that we are requiring their attendance at our next meeting. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay. And I think that's it for communities first. Does anyone has anything else they want to say?
No, not on this issue.
Okay, moving on to the next topic under old business is an update on the Brics. So as most of you know, I sent out an email. There was an MLive article about a week ago. Ron Fonger wrote an article, and the title of the article said, Congressman Kildee secures funding to replace 700,000 bricks on Saginaw Street. And I had a minor heart attack when I saw the word replace 700,000 bricks. Because to me, I believe that's the full amount of all the bricks on Saginaw Street. And after a year of trying to get the appropriate parties in front of us, when they finally came in front of us, they assured us that every brick that was whole would be reused and only the broken ones that couldn't be put back would not be able to be put back. So that about 60 to 70% would be original and put back. And then they had some plan for cement on the bike lane and the parking lanes and the crosswalks and intersections to fill in the void for the 30 to 40% of bricks that would be missing. So I contacted Ron Fonger at MLive and asked, is it creative license, that you use, this 700,000 is going to be replaced? He said, no, I got it off of Congressman Kildee's website, and he copied it and pasted it. It's on Congressman Kildee's website, 700,000 bricks to be replaced. So I contacted Congressman Kildee's office, and they said, we're at the macro level, people just submit their projects for funding. We just ask for the money. That was the wording on the project that was submitted to us. And then I'm just trying to trace the paper trail of who do I need to talk to that's using this language. And so it was Mr. Adis at the city, who's an engineer at the city, is the one that submitted the request. And apparently they have been talking to SHPO. So the city has been talking to State Historic Preservation Office about the project instead of us, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a local historic district. It's not a state historic district or a federal historic district. It's local. So really they should be talking to us about changes, modifications, plans, whatever. But they've been talking to the State Historic Preservation Office, and it's all documented. Congressman Kildee's office sent me an email indicating all the due diligence they had done. And apparently SHPO told them, no, you cannot put in cement for 30 or 40% of the bricks because it's a historic district. It has to be 100% historic brick. So now what their plan is to put the 60 or 70% back and then to purchase reclaimed historic brick from somewhere else, from wherever you get historic brick from, and to put it back. So technically the bricks will be replaced, but 60% of them will be the original bricks, 30 or 40% will be historic brick from somewhere else that's been brought in. So SHPO told them cement is off the table, which I appreciate, and that's awesome. That's better than the deal we were getting with them. But I still haven't talked to the city to just clarify with them that they shouldn't be talking to SHPO, they should be talking to us. And maybe we need to reach out to SHPO to say, hey, when people call you about a local historic district issue, thank you for talking to them and helping them and giving them information and, advice, but can you also redirect them back to us? Tell them, look, you need to be talking to the local historic district because they're the ones that have to prove it or deny it, So that's kind of my concern that we're being prevented.
Sorry to interrupt, Heather. It's Commissioner Hurley. But my recollection was we brought that up when they presented, and they didn't come to us with an application, correct? It was more of a presentation. Let's talk this over. It's a big project,
right?
And my recollection was that the cost to buy historic bricks that would match was way out of scope of what the project could afford. And that's where it came into this notion of doing some sections in cement, like at the crosswalks or something like that.
Right.
So, the notion that we would even consider the cement was really a factor so the project could move forward at all.
Right. There were, from what I recall, this is Commissioner Bernash, there were architectural drawings and they sort of submitted their plan and they said they would be coming back soon, but that was a long time ago and they haven't come back to us yet. And now I'm learning, from my own investigation that the plan has completely changed again. And I really appreciate, SHPO's support on this, but it's more of a trust issue that everything seems to be happening without any involvement from us and nobody wants to keep us informed about what is going on. Like we're just not involved at all in this process. And so that's my concern. SHPO gives them direction and they're just going to go do it and never come before us.
Yeah, it's Hurley again. I think you're right, Heather. I think if Bill or somebody could reach out and remind them that, what we did before was just an advisory sort of conversation that wasn't an application. We haven't approved anything, but that they need to come to us when the plan is firmed up and before it starts.
Right. And just
for a formal approval.
And I completely agree. Just SHPO is a great resource, but they are not the authority that's going to decide whether or not the project can happen. They're a resource for information and they can guide you and gives you suggestions and tell you, what would be appropriate or not. But, we're the ones that have to approve it, not SHPO. And I mean, it sounds like they gave them great advice and guidance and that it worked, I think, more than what it might have coming from us. So, I mean, I love the new plan. I'm a lot happier with it, but yeah, I agree that somebody needs to reach out to them to remind them that it's us that they need to be talking to.
I don't know, was it Betty who we talked with the last time who said if they had an issue or updates, because things have been put on hold before with the bricks because of the cram. I'm just concerned about the bricks because they had the bricks and it seemed like they lost the bricks. They didn't know where the bricks were. I'm like,
right.
How do you lose bricks? They're pretty big, but okay. Did somebody just decide to scrap them? So they're going to buy all these bricks. How do we know they're going to, this is like very iffy, but.
Which I think is what necessitated the request to Congressman Kildee to finance. Oh gosh, now we've got to purchase 40% of historic bricks. We need money for that. And so that was, his attempt to find the money so that it could be fixed the right way, which is awesome. I think we just need to be involved in this process.
Yeah, so it's Hurley again. No, I mean, the new plan is better. And if they've found the money, that's great. So who's the right person to reach out? Is it an attorney? Is it Bill? I'm not sure.
I think it was Mark Adis is a city engineer at the city of Flint. He's the one that submitted the plan, the proposal to Congressman Kildee's office to purchase these historic bricks. So he sounds like the person with authority that knows about the new plan.
Yeah, Commissioner Bernash, Bill Vandercook. I did talk to Mark Gatis 2 days ago. He informed me basically, what you said, that they've discussed this with the state, that the state won't allow them to, pull bricks out, cement any of the downtown. They had to use, like you said, similar bricks, and they were about $1 million short, but that's the way that he needed to proceed with this. So.
Okay.
Well, the city, not he, Mark Gatis, the city needed to proceed with it.
Right.
Well, if the commission would like, maybe we could put together a letter on your behalf, Commissioner Bernash.
That would be great. Okay. Is there any further discussion with respect to the bricks? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to new business. Is there any new business?
Is the land bank still on the line? Or have they signed off?
I don't see them.
Okay.
Okay, so hearing no new business, we can move on to the final agenda item, the adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Also move to adjourn the meeting.
Is there support?
Or
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And meeting is adjourned.
Great.
All right, everyone. Next time.
Good night, man.
Take care. Be safe, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.